Hello everyone, this is Dr. Hatami. In this short video, we're going to talk about the skeletal system components and its function. So if you remember, when we talked about the level of biological organization, in organization, in the one of the level we have the organism, right? The organism like you and me. So each organism is composed of 11 organ system. So one of the organ system in our body is the skeletal system. So we know each organ system is composed of several organs working together to perform a unique function, right? So then what would be the organs of the skeletal system? The primary organs of the skeletal system would be our bones, like the bones of your arm, the bones you have in your thigh, the bones you have in your hand. So these are the skeletal system primary organs. And also we have cartilages. So cartilages are most flexible structure which found in places like between your bones. And also we have ligaments. So ligaments are fibrous connective tissue which gonna join a bone to bone. So between bones, connective tissue is called ligaments. And also we have tendons in our skeletal system. Tendons is a fibrous connective tissue which connect muscle to the bone. And then the other connective tissue that they can stabilize or interconnect them together. Also, we can also add joints to this system, which joints are the places where two or more bones meet, and then they allow movement, like your knee joint, your shoulder joint, your elbow joint. So together, these structures form the framework that supports and protects your body, which is called the skeletal system. Now let's go over what the skeleton or our skeletal system actually does, or what is the main function of our skeleton. So we actually can divide our skeleton function to support movement, protection, blood cell production, mineral storage, and fat storage. So what does it mean that our skeleton can support our body? Which is actually very straightforward. The skeleton is going to provide structural support. It means it gives shape to your body and helps you stand upright, and without it, we'd just be a pile of soft tissues, right? Okay. Next function of the skeleton is a movement. How our skeleton is involved in movement. The skeleton works closely with the muscular system as the muscles attach to the bones. And when muscle contracts, they pull on bone to produce a movement. Then the skeleton also is involved in protection, like the skull, which would be the bunches of bones, is going to make a house for the brain and they protect the brain. Our rib cage, which also is composed of several bones, they are going to guard and protect our heart and lungs. And also our vertebrae, which make spine, they're going to protect our spinal cord. So you can see how our bones or skeleton would be involved in protection of some vital organs and also soft tissues in our body like brain, heart, and lungs and spinal cord. Can you believe it? Our skeleton would be involved in blood cell production. But how come? How is it possible that this hard structure is going to produce blood cells? Yes, that's correct. Because inside certain bones, there is a soft tissue. This soft tissue is called bone marrow. So in bone marrow, we have stem cells, which stem cells means the cells that they can divide unlimitedly and they can be differentiated or become to another cells like our blood cells. Okay, so that's the reason our skeleton, our bones would be involved in blood cell production. So then this red bone marrow inside the bones makes the different type of blood cells like our red blood cells, white blood cells, and also platelets. Also, the skeleton is involved in storing our mineral and fat. But again, how our skeleton is going to store mineral? It is easy because the bone is actually getting its hardness from the minerals like calcium and phosphate. So then it's kind of normal that bones can store the calcium and phosphate. And there is always a close relation between the bone and blood. So whenever we have low blood calcium, so then they can get the calcium from our bone, or whenever there is like high level of calcium in our blood, they can be stored in our bone. So then again, bones or a skeleton can store minerals like calcium and phosphate. So, and also it would be involved in fat storage. But again, how the skeleton can store the fat? Because again, we have bone marrow, but this time this bone marrow is called yellow bone marrow. So the yellow bone marrow is going to store the fat, as fat is a fuel for our body. So we have yellow bone marrow involved in fat storage, and we have red bone marrow, which is involved in blood cell production. So you can see bones are not just hard and lifeless, they're active and living organs that play many important roles in our body.